Welcome to the Coin Riches channel. Do you have old coins, old drawer banknotes, or forgotten money lying somewhere in your home right now? Before you scroll away, stop for just a moment and do one simple thing: subscribe to this channel, because what you are about to hear could completely change the way you look at the small pieces of metal hiding in drawers, boxes, and pockets around the world. Most people believe valuable treasures belong in museums or private vaults, far away from ordinary life. But history has a strange habit of slipping into our hands unnoticed. Today's story is not about ancient gold buried under the earth. It is about a modern coin, issued in a peaceful country, used by everyday people, passed from hand to hand without suspicion. A coin so ordinary at first glance that millions ignored it. And yet, one specific year, one specific detail, transformed it into something extraordinary. Imagine holding a coin that looks simple, calm, almost silent. No glitter, no diamonds, no dramatic shine. Just a Swedish 10 Kronor coin dated 1991. At the time, Sweden was adjusting to economic changes, modernizing its currency system, and minting coins meant for daily use: coffee, bus tickets, groceries. No one thought they were holding history. No one imagined that decades later, collectors would whisper about this coin with disbelief and obsession. The 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin was born during a period of quiet transformation. Sweden, known for stability, precision, and craftsmanship, produced coins with intentional simplicity. The design reflected balance and authority, a symbol of trust between a nation and its people. This coin carried the national identity, the weight of tradition, and the promise of reliability. But beneath that calm surface, something rare was happening. Coins are not just money. They are documents made of metal. Every line, every number, every edge tells a story. The 1991 issue was part of a transition phase in minting techniques, alloys, and quality control. During such transitions, mistakes can occur. Most errors are caught and destroyed. A few escape. And when they do, they become legends. What makes this coin so fascinating is not just what it shows, but what it hides. The weight, the composition, the strike quality, and subtle differences invisible to the untrained eye separate an ordinary coin from a mythical one. To most people, it's just 10 kronor. To experts, it's a question. To serious collectors, it's a challenge. To the lucky few, it's a life-altering discovery. Picture an older viewer, someone who lived through the 1990s. Someone who remembers carrying coins in their pocket every day. Imagine realizing that one of those coins, once spent without thought, could now command attention from the most elite collectors in the world. This realization alone sends chills down the spine. The 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin stands at the intersection of time and chance. It represents how value is not always immediate. Sometimes value sleeps for decades, waiting for the right moment to awaken. When collectors began closely examining coins from this period, questions started to rise. Why does this coin feel different? Why does it appear slightly unlike others? Why do records not fully explain certain variations? Professional numismatists know that rarity is not always about low numbers. It is about survival. How many were made, how many were destroyed, how many were spent, melted, lost, or forgotten? A coin that survives untouched, preserved in exceptional condition, becomes something else entirely. Condition turns metal into history. Scarcity turns curiosity into desire. This coin carries the authority of the Swedish crown, the precision of Scandinavian minting, and the mystery of an era that moved too fast to notice what slipped through. It is not loud. It does not beg for attention. It waits. And that is what makes it powerful. For viewers aged 35 to 65 and beyond, this story strikes deeper. It connects to memory. To a time when money was tangible, when coins had weight and sound, when value could be felt in the hand. This coin is a bridge between then and now. Between routine life and extraordinary possibility. Many collectors describe the moment they first learn about rare coins like this as unsettling. Suddenly, every jar of coins becomes a question mark. Every inherited box becomes a mystery. The past feels closer. The ordinary feels suspicious. And the idea that something small could carry enormous worth becomes impossible to ignore. This is not hype. This is how numismatic history works. Quietly. Patiently. Ruthlessly. Coins do not ask for belief. They wait for understanding that as this story unfolds, you will begin to see why the 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin has earned its place in serious discussions, why it has become the subject of private conversations among collectors, and why its story is far from finished. What matters is not just the coin itself, but what it represents, a reminder that value often hides in plain sight. So before you dismiss the coins you've seen 1,000 times, before you assume you already know what is valuable and what is not, stay with this story. Because the next part reveals how this coin moved from circulation to legend, and why time itself became its greatest ally. When collectors began to pay closer attention, the atmosphere around this coin slowly changed. What was once ignored became examined. What was once common became questioned. The 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin did not explode into fame overnight. Its rise was quiet, almost secretive, unfolding through conversations, private inspections, and careful comparisons. This is how true rarity behaves. It does not announce itself. It reveals itself only to those patient enough to look at first. It was small inconsistencies that raised eyebrows. Slight differences in texture. A feeling in the hand that did not quite match expectations. The sound it made when placed beside other coins of the same denomination. These details sound insignificant to most people, but to experienced numismatists, they are alarms. Coins are supposed to be predictable. When one breaks the pattern, it demands attention. During the early 1990s, mints across Europe were adjusting to new standards. Materials were tested. Processes were refined. Equipment was updated. In such moments of transition, unusual outcomes occur. Sometimes alloys are mixed differently. Sometimes pressure varies. Sometimes dies are replaced or altered without public record. The result can be a coin that technically should not exist in the way it does. The 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin sits right inside this window of uncertainty. Sweden's reputation for precision makes anomalies even more shocking. When a system known for perfection produces something imperfect, or rather, something unexpectedly different, that difference becomes priceless. Collectors who encountered this coin began to separate it from the rest. Not loudly. Not publicly. Quietly. They weighed it. They measured it. They compared it under magnification. And slowly, a realization formed: this was not just another coin from circulation. This was something that escaped classification. What makes this story even more compelling is how easily this coin could still be hiding. Unlike ancient coins, it does not look old. Unlike gold or silver rarities, it does not scream luxury. It blends into modern coin collections effortlessly. That is why so many may still exist undiscovered, sitting in drawers, piggy banks, or inherited collections where no one thought to look closely. For viewers who lived through decades of handling physical currency, this idea is deeply personal. You didn't need special access to history. History passed through your hands every day. The power of this coin lies in that truth. It was never locked away. It was never protected. It lived among people. As word spread in professional circles, the conversation shifted from curiosity to competition. Serious collectors thrive on what others overlook. The more difficult a coin is to identify, the more desirable it becomes. Difficulty equals prestige. Mystery equals demand. And demand, when paired with scarcity, rewrites value completely. Another layer of intrigue comes from preservation. Coins are survivors. Most coins from circulation suffer damage, scratches, wear, corrosion. A 1991 coin that remains in exceptional condition defies odds. It suggests intention or extraordinary luck. When such a coin also carries unusual characteristics, its status elevates instantly. This is where emotion enters the story. Not just excitement, but obsession. Collectors are not simply buyers. They are hunters of meaning. They chase objects that represent moments frozen in time. The 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin represents a moment when normality produced something abnormal, when routine created rarity. People aged 35 to 65 understand this more deeply than anyone. You've seen how value changes over time. You've watched ordinary things disappear, evolve, or become symbols of an era. This coin belongs to that transformation. It is a reminder that time does not just pass, it selects. What makes this coin especially powerful is that its story is still unfolding. It has not reached its final chapter. Each discovery, each private sale, each expert analysis adds weight to its reputation. The fewer that appear, the stronger its legend becomes. Silence feeds its power. There are stories of individuals who only realize the importance of this coin after years of ownership. Imagine the shock of learning that something you once ignored now sits at the center of intense interest. That realization alone changes how you see everything you own. The 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin teaches a harsh lesson: value is not always visible. It is not always immediate. Sometimes it waits for the world to catch up. And when it does, the shift is dramatic. As we move closer to the heart of this story, one truth becomes clear. This coin is no longer just Swedish currency. It has crossed into something global. It has become a symbol of how modern coins can rival ancient treasures when conditions align perfectly. That we will confront the most astonishing aspect of all, the moment when perception fully transformed into undeniable worth. The moment when numbers were spoken that silenced rooms. The moment when this quiet coin claimed its place among the most talked about modern rarities. Before we go any further, pause for 1 second and make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Stories like this are not told everywhere, and what you learn here could change the way you see the objects around you forever. Subscribe now, and stay with me until the final moment of this story. At some point, every legendary object reaches a turning point. A moment when whispers become proof, when curiosity becomes certainty. For the 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin, that moment arrived quietly, behind closed doors, in rooms where only experts were invited. No cameras. No headlines. Just intense focus, silence, and disbelief. By this stage, the coin was no longer being discussed casually. It was no longer compared to similar pieces. It stood alone. Specialists began to agree that what they were looking at was not simply a variation, not simply an error, but a rare survivor of a process that would never be repeated in the same way again. A coin born from a perfect storm of timing, transition, and chance. What separates ordinary collectibles from elite artifacts is confidence. Confidence among experts that something cannot be replaced, cannot be recreated, and cannot be explained away. The 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin crossed that line. Once it did, everything changed. Collectors understand that modern rarities are often more dangerous than ancient ones. Ancient coins have centuries of documentation. Modern coins live in blind spots. Records are incomplete. Decisions are forgotten. That uncertainty fuels desire. When something cannot be fully explained, it becomes irresistible. As attention increased, so did discretion. Owners stopped talking. Coins vanished into private collections. Opportunities to examine them became rare. And when supply disappears, imagination fills the gap. Stories grow. Demand intensifies. Silence becomes proof of importance. This is where age and experience matter. Viewers in their 40s, 50s, 60s understand cycles. You have seen how items once laughed at later become priceless. Vinyl records. Classic watches. Vintage cars. The same pattern repeats. What changes is who notices first. The emotional weight of this coin is not about money alone. It is about validation. About realizing that history did not just happen around you. You carried it. You spent it. You may have ignored it. And that realization can be haunting. Imagine sitting at home, looking at old belongings, knowing that one overlooked piece could hold a story larger than anything you imagined. That tension, that possibility, is why coins like this grip people so deeply. When valuation discussions finally began, they were cautious. Conservative. No one wanted to be first to say the number out loud. Because once spoken, it would redefine expectations. It would elevate this coin from curiosity to phenomenon. The evaluation process was relentless. Comparisons to other modern rarities. Analysis of survival rates. Consideration of condition, provenance, and historical context. Every angle was challenged. Every assumption tested. And still, the conclusion remained: this coin was no longer bound by its denomination. It had escaped its original purpose entirely. It was now an object of pure demand. An object whose value came not from metal, but from meaning, and meaning is the most powerful currency of all. For many collectors, the idea that a 1991 coin could rival the world's most valuable pieces was uncomfortable. It challenged old beliefs. It forced a re-evaluation of what rarity truly means. Age alone was no longer enough. Story mattered. Timing mattered. Survival mattered. As discussions intensified, one reality became unavoidable. If one of these coins were to appear publicly, openly, with confirmed characteristics and exceptional condition, the reaction would be immediate. Competitive. Aggressive, because this was not just about owning a coin. It was about owning the moment modern numismatics changed. Now imagine the silence in the room when the final figure was agreed upon. No applause. No excitement. Just stillness. Because everyone understood what that number represented. Not just value, but consequence. A simple coin. A quiet year. A country known for calm and order. And yet, the result was anything but ordinary. This is why you must never dismiss what looks familiar. This is why drawers, boxes, and inherited collections deserve respect. Because history does not always announce itself with gold and glitter. Sometimes it arrives disguised as routine. The 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin teaches one final lesson. That the greatest treasures are often the ones we never thought to question. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The number that transformed disbelief into reality. The valuation that stunned even the most seasoned experts. The estimated value of this extraordinary 1991 Swedish 10 Kronor coin reached an astonishing $2.7 million. If this story made you look differently at the coins and notes around you, subscribe to the channel now. Because the next story might be hiding in your home already.